not the corn cob. I hit the corn cob.
That was Catie Turner, and I am Tina Leader, here to break down why Catie is so gosh darn likable and how you can implement the same exact qualities into your life so you can network and connect with strangers and connect with even the relationships that you already have. I'm going to go over the top 5 qualities that Catie Turner has that you can adopt into your own life. On a side note, if this is the first time you are on this channel, make sure you subscribe so you can see more videos like these. And throughout this video, I really want you to comment below what other things that you notice. Check out the clip.
Where do I? Oh, wow. Hi, everybody.
Here we go.
We're
My
starting.
God.
Howdy.
Hey.
I love you so
Oh my
much.
goodness.
I love you too.
Right off the gate, Catie comes in with this exuding positive energy. I mean, you can just sense it. You don't even have to be in the room. You're just watching it through the film and you can sense how extremely positive she is. And you know, positive people are just so magnetic for multiple different reasons, but number one is that they honestly just make us feel good. We instantly have this rush of dopamine because they're so excited, they're so happy. It just makes us feel so happy for some reason. So that is the first thing that you already sense right off the bat. The second thing that you can already tell right away is that she is so authentically emotional. And when I say authentically emotional, I mean that she does not care to hold her emotions back. Catie is full-blown excited. Like, she is not holding anything back. And you know what's interesting? That it's this childlike excitement that she exudes, right? There's just nothing holding her back. A lot of us hold ourselves back on an emotional level because by society or, you know, by people around us, peer pressure, whatever it is, it brought us to normalize ourselves. It brought us to want to fit in. And because everybody normalizes themselves, because it's more mature, whatever it is in different cultures, we are taught to contain it. And so when we see people like Catie, or more often than not, when we see children who are just so authentically emotional, we really love it because we digress into that state where we used to be authentically emotional until it was beaten out of us. But when we see other people, whether it's children or adults who they just do not care and they just express themselves freely, there's a part of us that is super attracted to that because it takes us back to our childhood. People looked after us. So there's a certain level of freedom that we had, and we always intrinsically on a deeper psychological level want to go back to that state. So anybody who exudes this childlike energy and all these other qualities I'm going to point out, 3, 4, and 5, and honestly all 5 of these qualities that I'm going to point out are very childlike fun qualities that makes us super attracted to a person and makes somebody really likable. So let's continue on to the clip.
What's your name? Catie with the C, and you're Catie with the K, and I already think this friendship's off to a great start.
Cutting in here real fast, I really love that Catie just made this joke to Katy Perry. She is assuming the friendship. And what assuming the friendship really means is that when you approach a stranger, whether it's on the street or networking event or even a friend of a friend, right? You can approach them in the way that kind of builds on the fact that, hey, we are strangers and here is my formal introduction. Now, Catie does not do this, and I mean Catie Turner, right? She just assumes the friendship. She makes Katy Perry feel like, you know what? You're just one of my buddies, right? And the way that she says, oh, Catie and I feel like this friendship is off to a great start. The fact that it's so informal suggests that they are all already friends in some sense, right? We are already on friendly terms. And what that does on a deeper psychological level is that the other person, they act as if that they are already friends. And it's this weird phenomenon that happens where I notice even meeting new people that there are people who say, I'm a hugger, and they hug versus a handshake. Now, you might not think that's a huge difference and might think, you know what, well, I'm not a hugger and that's weird. That's fine, but it's the attitude of, you're already in my friendship circle and we like people who like us and we're not friends with people we don't like. So when people are already assuming the friendship, we tend to just fall back into this, I guess we're friends now. And therefore we become more likable. As a matter of fact, comment below if you've ever had a moment or person really just assuming a friendship and ultimately becoming friends with them later on. Has that ever happened to you? And what did they specifically do that made you already feel like you were friends, even though you were technically strangers? I'd really like to know. So let's move on to the clip.
Love it.
Right away.
I don't drink coffee or any caffeine. This is just pure adrenaline. Let's hit it. Let's go.
Okay, pull your hat back just a little bit more.
How about I throw it to the side?
Put it down there so we can put some money in it.
All right. You guys ready?
Oh, yeah.
I have a question. Do you write your own songs?
Yeah.
to
Do
show
you
us?
want to hear 21st Century Machine?
Yeah.
21st Century Machine?
It's kind of about how media affected me when I was an impressionable young child and kind of like my bitterness to it, but
You also sound like a gosh darn genius.
here's the intro.
Pause right here really quickly. Now, the confidence that she has is so vital. She's not really questioning of whether she should play it or not. She's really telling them that she's gonna play it. It's more of a rhetorical question, which I love. I absolutely love. And the judges have no choice but to say yes. And honestly, they're just curious because Catie is so confident. You can't help but want to know, well, what is this new song, right? All right, let's continue on to the clip.
People on the airwaves always preach who I should be. How to dress, how to talk, baby, how to breathe. Wicked artists use their limber fingers to paint pictures of what young girls are to aspire to be. I'm not alive if I'm not on a legal weed. I'm not in love without a man sitting next to me. Someone tell me if this is all an illusion or if I'm just a cog in the 21st century machine. It's the place to be in the 21st century machine. Shelf light and live precariously.
I love this song. And I love this song not just because it's technically great and it has a good hook and all of these things, but this song exemplifies her vulnerability. And the reason why this vulnerability is so key and so important is because, we can have these superficial friends or acquaintances, really, right? That we can talk about the weather or superficial things, but it's not until we go to this very deep, vulnerable state that they become our best friends. They become people that we can truly rely upon if something were to happen in our lives. It's that vulnerability aspect that makes us feel like we are ridiculously close to somebody. And without that vulnerability aspect, it becomes this superficial relationship. Now, in Catie's case, this is a singing competition. She wrote this song, and so it's easy for her. Music is her medium of vulnerability. Now, what I would like to suggest to you is that you have your own medium. Pick a medium. For me, it's journaling. I can be ridiculously vulnerable when I journal things out. I can be ridiculously vulnerable when I dance a contemporary dance in a class, right? So those are my way of expressing vulnerability to myself. And the reason why I say vulnerability to myself is because you really can't feel comfortable and show vulnerability when you don't feel comfortable showing vulnerability to yourself. And this is the mistake I see in so many different people when it comes to connecting with people, is that they are so afraid to look at themselves and being vulnerable with themselves, even with nobody around. They're afraid to even cry alone in their room when nobody's even there, right? It's these little things that, honestly, if you cannot be vulnerable with yourself, you cannot expect anybody to be vulnerable with you. It always starts internal, and I truly believe that you have to go internal first and really just be comfortable with your own vulnerability in order for the external vulnerability to come to you. And how you know that you're not comfortable is if you're annoyed by other people's vulnerabilities, or you're somehow frustrated, or you're somehow angered when other people are vulnerable, because ultimately that means that you're angered and frustrated towards your own vulnerability. So that's something that is honestly a muscle, and you can work on it, but it needs to be worked on every single day. And yes, every single day. That's why I journal every day, right? Whether that be singing even in your car with a song that means a lot to you, that is vulnerability. So pick a medium and just go with it. Just trust in it. And the more vulnerable you'll allow yourself to be, honestly, the more self-love and this more self-acceptance, if you don't like the word self-love, that you're able to become. And that creates greater connection, deeper connections, honestly, with other people.
Yeah, okay. That is such a good song. You're a spectacular songwriter. I love where your mind's at. I think, man, let's just, comments?
Yes, Catie's saying it. You are interesting and brilliant beyond your years.
Yeah.
I love the sound of your voice. Every once in a while, you know, a Martian lands, and we happen to see the Martian. I cannot tell you how wonderful it is to see you. All right. I'm just fascinated with your brain, and your writing is crazy great. Okay. So that's my comment.
Let's take a vote.
Do you have a cell phone, or
Yeah,
do you have Instagram and all that? Do you read all that garbage?
Yeah.
She scrolls.
She's cool.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm saying yes. But you don't go and read anything what people say about you, because I don't want the outside world to mess with your beautiful brain.
Right.
You
She's
have.
so strong.
Right.
She knows
Yes.
it. What's your answer?
I am actually pleased to say, for my first time out, yes, absolutely.
I think your point of view is very fresh and necessary. You understand what it means to be a female this day and age, and I love that. So you're going to Hollywood. You're going to Hollywood.
Don't trip.
Oh, sweetheart. Oh, so good.
I love you. Oh my gosh, I love you.
Can you believe
She's
the
hilarious.
genius?
She's
Guys.
very smart.